What are you looking for in a wedge fitting? And do I really need to do one? Now the easy way to do this is to look at the irons that you have, Google images on the irons that you have in the bag, and you're looking for a chart that shows you the lofts that you've got. And if you go down to your pitching wedge, see what loft your pitching wedge is. If your pitching wedge is 44 degrees, then we might need different lofts in the wedges to help go down from that. With the irons, I'm trying to get distances with each iron that are different from each other. And then I've got 7 irons to go from, and that's 7 yardages. When I'm looking at the wedges, it's literally a mini set of irons further down the bag. We get our yardages down to the pitching wedge, and then I want to go bang, bang, bang. Or if you want 2 wedges instead of 4, then you're just looking for jumps that come down from your pitching wedge. If you have a 48-degree pitching wedge, which doesn't happen that much anymore, ideally we're looking for 4-degree gaps between each wedge. You can go 6-degree gaps if you want, to give yourself a bit more space at the top end of the bag. Ultimately, we've got 14 clubs in the bag. If you load yourself up with wedges, you've got less room for woods. You might only be used to having your set of irons and then 1 sand wedge. If you're only used to that, then maybe look at getting 2 wedges. If you're used to having 3 wedges, just make sure we're getting lofts that work from your pitching wedge further down. Jump in the comments if you're not sure about what lofts and stuff you should get. Tell me what irons you've got, and then ask me to recommend what wedges I would say. There are different size cavities of wedges here, so if you're a high handicapper, you might want something that's more like this, that has a wider sole and it's a bit more like your wider irons. If your irons are wide, 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 keep going wide with the wedges. If your irons are a bit more sleek and you're a lower handicapper, keep the slimness of the irons and then go into something slimmer and more blade-like in the wedges. If you're the sort of golfer that digs into the ground and you really get down into the turf and you sort of get quite bouncy, we get into the ground like that, I'd kind of recommend something that's got higher bounce, something with a wider sole, because that's going to stop the club from digging into the turf as much. If you're the sort of golfer that releases the club very differently, if you're looking at the Dan Grieve model of chipping and pitching, you get more release from here. As you release, you get more bounce presented to the floor. So as you come in the ball this way, this sticks out a bit more. So we don't need this to be there as much with the wedges. We can go for something a bit slimmer because we're actually getting it to work still. If you're not sure, go for something that's mid. You'll see bounces that say high bounce, mid bounce, low bounce. You're not going to be too far off the beaten track with a middle bounce. It's really based on technique. I would say closer to the green in terms of low bounce or high bounce as to what would suit you better. So it is down to each individual golfer. The mid one won't be too far away. But I hope that helps. Jump in the comments with the irons that you've got if you want me to recommend any wedge sets. And I'll see you on the next video.